Have you ever noticed how the human mind creates invisible ladders, where some people are placed higher and others lower, even before a single word is spoken? In the story of a billionaire wife looking down on a poor mother until the truth came out, the real tragedy is not money, but perception. Because when a woman believes her worth comes from status, she unconsciously forgets her shared humanity with other women. Many women watching this recognize this pain, because society constantly teaches them to compete, to compare, to measure themselves through wealth, beauty, or attention, while ignoring the quiet strength it takes to survive without privilege. The poor mother in this story is not weak. She is invisible, and invisibility is something many women feel every day. Men often obsess over women they see as high value, as chasing beauty, power, or status. But this obsession is shallow and temporary, and it pressures women to perform instead of exist. What women must understand is this: obsession is not. Respect and attention is not safety. When men obsess, it is often because they want to possess an image, not honor a soul. And that same mindset is what allowed the billionaire wife to dismiss another woman's pain. True power for women is not in being admired, but in being grounded, self-aware, and emotionally sovereign. The title teaches a psychological truth. When you look down on someone, you stop learning. And when you stop learning, life eventually humiliates you with truth. Women do not need to prove superiority to other women. Unity and empathy are the real protection in a world that already judges them harshly. The poor mother's quiet dignity is a mirror, showing that worth is built through endurance, love, and moral clarity, not bank accounts or social circles. When women stop chasing validation, especially male obsession, and start cultivating self-respect, they become untouchable by arrogance or shame. As a therapist would say, healing begins when you recognize that compassion is strength, not weakness. And humility is not submission, but wisdom. Let this story remind you that life always reveals truth, and when it does, the woman who chose empathy over ego will stand taller than wealth itself. Why does the human brain decide someone's worth? In the first 3 seconds, before their story ever gets a chance to speak? In the title, where a billionaire wife looked down on a poor mother until the truth came out, the deepest wound is how appearance became the judge, jury, and sentence. Many women understand this pain intimately because they are evaluated daily by how they look, what they wear, how polished they seem, and how desirable they appear to others. The poor mother's worn clothes were not a sign of failure. They were evidence of survival. Yet society and often other women are conditioned to mistake struggle for weakness. This story mirrors how men obsess over women they perceive as flawless, glamorous, or elevated, while overlooking the emotional depth and resilience that don't photograph well. Women need to hear this clearly. Obsession built on appearance is fragile, and it will disappear the moment the image cracks. When men obsess, it often creates pressure for women to maintain a mask, to stay perfect, and that performance slowly erodes self-worth. The billionaire wife fell into this trap, believing that looking superior meant being superior, and that belief disconnected her from empathy. As a therapist would say, judgment based on appearance is a defense mechanism, protecting fragile egos. From confronting shared vulnerability, the poor mother's reality teaches a powerful lesson. Dignity does not fade with hardship, it deepens. Women watching this should know that real respect comes from presence, integrity, and boundaries, not from being admired or envied. What should women do instead? Stop explaining your worth through visuals, stop shrinking to fit expectations, and stop mistaking attention for love. Choose self-respect over approval and emotional safety over admiration. When women learn to see beyond appearances in others, they also learn to treat themselves with gentleness and fairness. The truth in this story emerges like therapy itself, slow, uncomfortable, but liberating, revealing that the woman who honors character over cosmetics will always outgrow those who judge too quickly. Let this be the powerful reminder. Life exposes shallow vision, and when the truth comes out, it is the woman who stayed authentic, compassionate, and grounded who stands unshaken, while illusions quietly collapse. What happens inside the human mind when everything feels stable, but the moment pressure arrives, the real self quietly steps forward. In the story where a billionaire wife looked down on a poor mother until the truth came out, crisis became the mirror that revealed character. And this is where many women feel the deepest connection. Women are often taught to maintain composure, beauty, and status, yet rarely are they taught how powerfully they respond when life demands courage instead of appearance. When chaos enters, obsession, wealth, and image lose their shine, and only inner strength speaks. Men may obsess over women they believe are untouchable. But obsession disappears quickly when comfort is threatened, revealing how fragile admiration can be. This story gently warns women not to build their identity on being desired or admired, because desire does not guarantee loyalty, empathy, or protection. The poor mother's response in crisis shows something extraordinary. True strength is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted in responsibility and love. While the billionaire wife clung to control and image, the mother acted with instinct, courage, and emotional clarity, proving that character is revealed, not declared. As a therapist would explain, stress strips away performance and exposes values. And this is why crisis becomes a truth teller. Women should learn from this, that when they invest in self-trust, emotional intelligence, and boundaries, they become resilient in moments when others collapse. Obsession from men may feel validating, but it often fades when women stop performing perfection, which is why self-respect must come before approval. The lesson here is profound. The woman who prepares her inner world will never be undone by external chaos. When women stop comparing lives and start strengthening values, they reclaim power that cannot be taken away. The truth coming out is not just about status being exposed. It is about authenticity rising when it matters most. Let this story anchor you in a deeper confidence, reminding you that in life's most revealing moments, it is not wealth, beauty, or obsession that saves you, but the courage you have quietly built within. Why does the human mind feel so confident in its judgments, even when it knows so little about the full story? In the title where a billionaire wife looked down on a poor mother until the truth came out, the most powerful moment is not the revelation itself, but the silence before it, the space where assumptions lived comfortably. Many women relate to this because they know how often their lives are misunderstood, their struggles minimized, and their depth ignored simply because they don't fit a polished image. The truth in this story arrives like it always does in real life, unexpected, undeniable, and humbling, reminding us that what we see is almost never the whole reality. Men may obsess over women they think they understand, projecting fantasies onto them, but that obsession is built on fragments, not truth. When women allow themselves to be defined by how others see them, they risk losing connection with who they truly are. Poor mother carried a hidden history of strength, sacrifice, and resilience. And when the truth came out, it exposed how shallow judgment can be. As a therapist would say, humans judge quickly to feel safe, but safety built on illusion always collapses. This story invites women to pause before judging others and, just as importantly, before judging themselves. What should women do when they are underestimated or misunderstood? They should resist the urge to over-explain, to prove, or to perform, because truth does not need constant defense. Obsession from others, especially men, may feel validating, but it often fades once the truth challenges their expectations, which is why self-worth must be self-generated. The billionaire wife's shock reflects a universal lesson life reveals what ego tries to hide. When women choose patience, self-awareness, and integrity, they allow truth to work in their favor over time. The deeper message is comforting your story does not need immediate recognition to be powerful. Let this moment remind you that truth always surfaces, and when it does, it reorders power quietly but completely, leaving the woman who stayed authentic, standing strong, seen, and finally understood. What if the human mind has been measuring greatness in all the wrong places, confusing power with money and worth with status? In the story where a billionaire wife looked down on a poor mother until the truth came out, the final lesson is deeply therapeutic. Compassion is the real measure of greatness, and everything else is decoration. Many women feel pressured to become impressive, admired, or envied because society rewards visibility, not kindness. Yet this story quietly restores balance. The poor mother's compassion was not loud or performative. It was steady, human, and unconditional, and that is why it outlived wealth and pride. Men may obsess over women they see as powerful or flawless, but obsession often ignores empathy, because empathy cannot be owned or controlled. Women should understand that being desired is not the same as being valued, and being admired does not guarantee being treated with care. The billionaire wife's downfall was not her wealth, but her lack of emotional connection, which left her isolated despite abundance. As a therapist would say, true fulfillment comes from relational safety, not external validation. This story invites women to shift their focus from proving worth to practicing compassion, starting with themselves. When women learn to extend kindness without self-betrayal, they develop boundaries that attract respect instead of obsession. Compassion does not make women weak, it makes them discerning, grounded, and emotionally intelligent. The truth coming out redefines greatness, showing that humility creates strength that money cannot protect or replace. Women who choose empathy over ego free themselves from comparison and competition, allowing genuine confidence to grow. The most powerful takeaway is this: when life strips away titles and appearances, the woman who remains compassionate stands. Tallis, let this story settle into your heart like therapy, reminding you that compassion is not just how you treat others. It is how you protect your own dignity, and that is a wealth no one can take away.